Hello! In my last video I solved an equation for x. Now I will go a step further towards proper English. And now I will solve an equation for x. So here we go. How to solve an equation for x. How to solve an equation for x. Or is it x's? Oh, whatever. As far as I remember, the equation in my last video was something like that. X minus 1 divided by x equals 1 over 4. Now, there is a slight difference between calculation and math. What I'm doing here is basically calculation. In the end, I will end up with a number for x. X equals, I think it was 1 over 3 or something like that. I can't remember. Math, on the other hand, gives me something of a view beyond numbers. And by that I mean the following. I will now take this number here, the number 4, and I will remove it. I will take a look beyond this number 4, which means I have now an empty space here. I have to use, what should I call it, a little helper, a substitute, basically something to fill in the empty space here. Let's take a letter. Why not A? It's the first letter of the alphabet, so I just take the first thing that comes to my mind. Remember, before I wrote A, there was a 4 in this fraction. This little thing here is, so to speak, a placeholder for the number 4. Keep that in mind. It will get important at the end of this video. Right. Now I'm going to solve this equation for x. The first thing I do is I will not, and under no circumstances, shorten this fraction. I can't do this. I will not do this. You will not do this. No, it's a big no-no. It doesn't work as long as we have this ugly minus here. I will literally move this x over to this side by multiplying the whole thing with x. And I will move this a to the other side by multiplying with a. I think I move this a bit to the side. Just keep it in mind, I put it here, so it won't get into the way. If you remember my previous video, after I do this, the whole equation looks a bit like this. I will now get rid of the brackets by multiplying a with x, a times x, and a with minus 1, a equals x. Okay, so far so good. Now, actually this one is a bit superfluous. I remove it, because it's 1a. I don't have to count it. Here, just 1a left. Just keep in mind, I just removed a 1 here. My old math teacher called this little baby a ghost 1, eine Geister 1. I'll just leave it here. Remember, there was once a 1. Okay, next step is I will kind of sort this whole equation by moving this x to this side of the equation, simply by adding x on both sides, or rather by subtracting x on both sides. Ax minus x minus a, skips a ghost one, equals 0. Remember, I subtract x on this side, leaving just 0. It's not nothing, it's 0. And then I'll take this a on the other side of the equation by adding a on both sides of the equation. I like that. So in the end, we have a times x minus x equals a. Good. Now, let's get to this little ghost one. Here, right in front of the x, I have left a little space because I have exactly one x here. Usually it's not important to write down one x explicitly, but now I'm going to do the opposite of what I did here. Here I multiplied the a with x and with -1. And now I will do the opposite. I will unmultiply the x, which means I move this x right in front of a couple of brackets. And inside these brackets, everything that is left over, excluding the x, is written down. We have an a, we have a minus, and now reappearing the ghost one, now in flesh and blood. Okay, and last but not least, we get rid of all this bracket stuff here and divide by a minus 1, recreating a fraction, I'm afraid, but that's the price of math. Okay, there. I now solved an equation for x. And I came out with an equation. And that's math for you. So why have I done this? Let's take this little bugger and move it over here. And also we'll take this. Remember, when I started, this letter A represented the number 4, which means I can now replace this letter with the number 4 and with just a little bit of calculation I have this x equals 4 over 3. If a is 4, for example. If a isn't 4, if a is, let's say 5, I don't know, I would not do away with it, 5, I can take this little formula here, or let's call it an equation. I like to train the word equation so I never misuse it again. And we have something completely different, and yet not different, because this equation has always this solution, no matter what a exactly is. Oh, I can put in any number I want. 4, 5, 3, 2, 7, 8, 1. No, not the 1, sorry. 1 doesn't work. and I can calculate a solution. But what I've done here, that is basically calculating. And what I have done here is math. That's the difference. And now I will conclude this video and say goodbye for the time being. Or for the next word that I misspell or whatever.